Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking about some information out there that that doesn't add up about Don Wells and some of the things that he said, the 911 dispatch call to the police, and how that differs from the initial statement that Don and Candus released about what happened to Summer. There's a lot of conflicting news out there, and there's a lot of information. It just doesn't really add up. And so I want to talk to you guys about that. Now, before I get into all of that, I just want to say I know I'm a little bit behind. I've had some family issues going on, and I want to give you guys a short backstory on my personal situation and tell you guys exactly what happened and where I've been. But also because if you are not aware that this can happen to you, then it's really important to keep a heads up because this stuff is serious. My mother has been in the hospital for the past, she just came home about 2 days ago, but she's been in the hospital for 3 days straight. So my mom doesn't have seizures normally, okay? And she doesn't have any like medical conditions really that would put her at risk for a seizure, I guess. However, about a week ago, my mom had a grand mal seizure. And if you don't know what that is, it's a severe seizure. It could kill you, okay? And it was triggered because she was on a medication that is used for anxiety and depression. And my 10-year-old son was actually at her house, and he called me because I had ran to my mother-in-law's house really quick. My 10-year-old son and my 18-year-old nephew was at her house, and my son called me and he was crying and upset, and I'm like, calm down, what's wrong? And he tells me that he had to call the ambulance for my mom. So immediately I jumped up. I tried to get there as quick as I could in 5 o'clock traffic. And when I got to her house, she was in the back of the ambulance. I've never seen my mother in a situation like this, so it was terrifying to me. But I can't imagine how scared my little boy was. He was crying and really upset, so I tried to calm him down some. But what ended up happening was my mom was on a medication for anxiety and depression, and she had what they call a TIA a while back. This was years ago. And when she had the TIA, they put her on a medication called Klonopin. So you might be familiar with that medication, but basically what it did was it suppressed her brain because they thought either she had a TIA about 3 or 4 years back, or it could have been like a severe anxiety attack because she couldn't talk for like 3 or 4 seconds, and her hands were shaky and she was sweating and her blood pressure was really high. So they thought it could be either a mini stroke or TIA, or it could have been a severe anxiety attack. And they basically said, well, you know, your blood pressure's up. We're going to put you on Klonopin because Klonopin will not only lower your blood pressure, but it will keep any further panic attacks from happening in most cases because it suppresses your brain and so forth. Well, she's been on it for 3 years now. She's been on the medication for 3 years now. And so my mom has severe COPD. So she was in the kitchen trying to open her pill bottle, and she was getting water at the same time. This was about 2 weeks ago, and she dropped her pill bottle, and she was able to save some of her pills. Even though they got wet, she let them dry out, and she was able to save some. But unfortunately, a lot of them went down the drain. But she didn't think anything of it. She just thought, well, that sucks. I'll just get another prescription, you know, next month, and I'll start back then. She's missed them a couple of days here and there since she's gotten prescribed them, but nothing this long. Like, she's never went this long without them. And so she went about 5 or 6 days without the pills. Well, because she went that long, it threw her into a severe seizure. And she felt it kind of coming on, and she thought it might have been a stroke. She told my son to hand her some aspirin and water because her left hand and her right hand were going kind of numb and limp. And now normally if you have a stroke, one side of your body will be affected. So she kind of thought it was weird how both of her hands felt tickly and kind of numb and weird. And so it freaked her out, and she took 2 aspirin and drank some water. And when she realized that she was getting worse and she was getting weak, and she was starting to get like out of body, she had like what they call an out of body experience, or disoriented experience, she told my son to call 911. So my son bravely called 911, and the ambulance, my mom was able to stay conscious long enough for them to get the address from her, thank God. And once that happened, the ambulance showed up in literally like 2 minutes, because the hospital is like a 2-minute drive from my mom's house, thank God. And it's one of the best hospitals in the United States. So we were very blessed for that. They immediately got her on the stretcher, took her outside. She was very frantic. She was mad and angry, and she was kind of, she didn't know anyone, so it was very strange. She didn't know where she was at. It was terrifying. And so I'm on the phone with my son, and he puts me on the phone with the ambulance. I stayed on the phone with him the whole time. And the EMT asked me if my mom had a history of seizures, and I said no, she's never had a seizure, because she hasn't. It doesn't run in our family. In fact, I don't know anyone really in our family who has. However, about 2 months ago, my cousin, who I really don't know too well, his daughter has epilepsy, and she's about 23 years old, okay? Or she was about 23 years old. She ended up having a grand mal seizure as well, and it killed her, okay? Because her brain went so long without oxygen. Come to find out, and we didn't know this until my mom's attack the other day, come to find out, she also missed the same exact medication that my mom missed, and that's what threw her into her seizure as well. So if you are on Klonopin, or you know someone who is, please don't miss any doses. And if you decide to stop taking it, do not do so cold turkey if you've been taking it longer for a week or two, because the doctor said that it will throw you into a seizure. What happens is that Klonopin, it suppresses your brain. So when you come off of it sporadically, your brain goes kind of haywire, and it can throw you into a seizure. Luckily, my mom did not hit her head. She was sitting in a soft recliner when this happened, thank God, because if she would have fallen, she could have hurt herself really bad. She came back to, she's doing great now. They did a lot of testing on her when she was there. They had to do a CT scan on her brain to make sure she didn't have a stroke, and she didn't. They did a blood test, and it did come back that she had, what is it, troponin, I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it's an enzyme that your heart releases when the heart muscle experiences damage, and it could show that you've had a heart attack or some kind of heart damage to the muscle. So they came back in and said, we're going to test her heart because she had troponin in her blood, and they want to make sure she didn't have a heart attack. However, her troponin levels were only 0.5, and most people who have had heart attacks recently, like within the past 24 to 48 hours, their troponin levels will be about 5 to 10, 5.0 to 10.0. So they're a lot higher. And so they knew that she didn't have a severe heart attack, but they were concerned that she may have had a mild one. So they put her through a stress test, and the stress test, they said, came back kind of abnormal a little bit. So they did a catheterization, and before they even performed the catheterization to her heart, they warned us that she may have blockages and may have to get a bypass surgery. So we have been totally stressed out thinking my mom was going to have to go through bypass surgery. She has severe COPD and only has a 30% lung function left. Her FEV1 is 30. If y'all know what that is, it's you do a pulmonary function test, and it tells you how much function your lungs have, and she does not have much. My mom is on 24-hour oxygen. It was terrifying to see her go through that, and to see her face when they told her that she may have to go through bypass surgery. So come to find out, however, thank God, we were blessed, and she did not have to go through that. They performed the catheterization, and her heart was completely normal. They said that her heart is functioning normal, her arteries are clear, she does not have coronary artery disease. In fact, her heart is very healthy and very in shape. So that really, really made us feel good. They said that the troponin levels could have elevated slightly because of the seizure, or because of a lack of blood flow during the time she had the seizure. So it was really scary, but long story short, my mom is fine, and the best news is that she's home now, and she's back on her Klonopin, and the doctor did advise her she should probably wean off of it, just because she doesn't have epilepsy, but you don't want your brain to become dependent upon something like that, because when it does, it's dangerous to ever miss it. So you guys, if you're on medication for anything, please do your research and call your doctor and get checked out thoroughly before you try to stop doing it cold turkey, because it can kill you, okay? That was just my little disclosure, my little warning to you guys. But I also wanted to share my story because I'm not just absent because I want to be. I wanted to film videos, but I have been stressed out. My mom is my best friend, and I could not imagine something happening to her. So I just really wanted to share that with you guys. All right, so I've been doing some research on Dawn Wells, the situation with Dawn Wells, I guess. And the biggest thing that I found odd is that Dawn Wells, the dispatcher's call did not add up with what they were saying, okay? So apparently, according to Candus, Dawn Wells works an hour away from where they live, okay? That's what Candus said. However, in his statement, he said that he showed up at the house before the police got there. Now, mind you, if Don got a call at work, okay, if he got a call at work and the call said that he needed to call the police, first of all, we've already talked about this, and I found this very skeptical because, okay, some people say it's not skeptical because, you know, she freaked out, she called her husband, and she wanted to just see what her husband thinks she should do first. No, absolutely not. I find this odd. It would be one thing if your husband worked 5 minutes from the house and he had a habit of popping up at the house and just picking the kids up and taking them to the store with him. That would be a reason to call your husband first and say, hey, honey, do you know where the kid is at? You know, do you have her with you? Did you stop by and pick her up? But since they live in a rural area and they live in a place where you have to go up a long driveway, and since they live in an area where it's not many people around, and Dawn Wells allegedly works an hour away from where they live, why would you call him first? It just doesn't make sense to me because, you know, when a child goes missing, they say the first 48 hours is the most critical time for anybody when they go missing. So you would think that instead of worrying about calling your husband and asking him to call the police, you would call the police yourself. Because trust me, I wouldn't even be thinking about my husband if my child went missing. Like, I will tell my husband when I can. Right now I'm trying to find my child, because obviously if it's a wooded area, there's drug addicts around, he said, and Don said, and there's bears and things like that, then clearly she's in some kind of danger if she is in the woods by herself. So you want to find her as quick as you can to make sure nothing happens to her, right? So why would it go through her head to think, oh, well, you know, I'll just call my husband first and let him know what's going on and see if he wants to call the police, and if he does, he can call him. That does not make any sense. And then turn around, and Don said that he got back to the house before the police got there. Well, if he works an hour away and it's 6:30 traffic, people are just getting off work. People are probably going to eat with their families, like Stephanie Harlow said. You know, it just doesn't really add up. Like, none of that adds up. So I was watching her video, and that's where it really clicked in my head. Like, this really doesn't make sense. Like, looking at the whole picture, Don said he got to the house before the police did, but he's the one who called the police from work, right? So how did he get to the house before the police did in 6:30 traffic, along with the fact that he works an hour away from where they live, according to Candus? Well, on the Google Maps, it's about a 39-minute drive, but again, that's probably on a regular day where there's not much traffic. What about when it's 6:30 traffic and people are getting off of work? Come on, like, how did you get there so quickly? I know that you may have been speeding and rushing because it's your child, but, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And then the 911 dispatcher has a whole different story when she's telling the police. She has an entire different story from what Don had. And that's another thing that did not add up to me. According to the 911 dispatcher, and I'll play that video for you in just a second. According to the 911 dispatcher, Candus had taken her for a walk and she went missing. There was never any talk about a walk. According to Candus, she claims that this all happened when she was outside planting flowers. Then suddenly Summer went inside and she watched her go in the house. And 2 minutes later, she comes back to check on her, which I found ironic, because why would you come back 2 minutes later? You know, if it had been 30 minutes, 45 minutes to an hour, okay. But 2 minutes later, it just doesn't even make sense. 2 minutes later, you come back to check on her, and she's gone. Like, what is it that told her to go check on her daughter within a 2 minute time frame? I just don't get it. It just doesn't add up to me. So, but then the 911 dispatcher's call is completely different from the statement that Don and Candus gave. Now, I know that they were both upset at the time, and maybe there was some miscommunication, and it's very possible that they, it's very possible that the story just got mixed up. Y'all ever played the game telephone? You tell one person something, they go tell it to somebody else, they go tell it to somebody else. By the time it gets back around to you, it's usually a completely different story from what it started out to be. And that's because when you're relaying a message, it can get relayed a lot of different ways. So it's possible that that happened, but it just doesn't make sense. How did they go from Summer was in the house with her brothers and Candus is outside planting flowers to they were taking a walk and then she came up missing? It seems to me like somebody's story got mixed up pretty badly. So
Around from 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
So, looks a little suspicious to me. And then on top of that, it's just like everything else that's coming out. I watched a video on Unmasked. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. The channel called Unmasked. They were interviewing, we're not going to call him by his name just for respect purposes. He is a minor. But H, we're going to call him H. And if you've been researching this case thoroughly, you probably know who I'm talking about. But there is a boy called H, and he is the one who went with Candus and Summer to the lake the day that Summer went up missing. And apparently, H did say, or the mother of H, or the grandmother of H, someone, I think it was the mother of H, said that Candus did purchase alcohol for him, and also said that Candus had a habit of beating her children with belts. It's a lot of hearsay, and I say hearsay because we don't have any proof, but it's a lot of hearsay and a lot of speculation and a lot of how do I word this? A lot of people coming to the light saying, hey, she's been doing this, she's done this. It's so much out there, and I just really hope, and I know that the police can't release much information to us right now, but I really hope that they are looking into her a lot. Like, I hope that they are not letting her get off the chain for this one, because it just doesn't look right. The whole story doesn't make sense. Nothing adds up. You know what's bothering me the most, honestly, is that these people have not shed a tear, and that's really disturbing to me, because if my child was missing, I would not be able to stop shedding tears. And I damn sure, excuse my language, I damn sure would not be sitting still, letting time pass, and I'm not out there looking for my child. Because in my mind, my child is still here. And I want you guys also to go watch the video of Don, and I can try to insert a clip here for you, where Don was saying how people got mad about his post on social media referring to Summer in a past tense. But then he continued to do it even after he apologized for it. He and Candus both continued to refer to Summer in a past tense. She was going to start school, or she was, it was just so much was, and, it's really disturbing, because at first he apologized for it and didn't really give an explanation for why he did it. But not only that, but then he continued to do it while he was being interviewed after that. And I was like, what the hell? Like, that is not okay, Like, if you're not thinking that your child is dead, then you wouldn't be referring to them in a past tense. I've always found that very weird about this case. But not even just that, guys, but then it's like from day one, if you recall the first interview that he done, Don was not really that upset. I mean, I didn't see him crying. Okay? From the first day that his daughter was missing, he never really seemed that upset or that distraught about it. But also, he was saying that he did not think that they were going to find her, that statistics were against her. And that's been very mind-boggling to me as well, because the first day is when you should have the most hope. Like, we're going to find her. We're going to find her. You know, we're going to get out here and do what we can. I'm not going to stop looking until we find my child. You know, you shouldn't be sitting there playing with your thumbs when your kid's missing. I'm just saying, something is very off here. And unfortunately, it's just not looking good for this case right now. It's not looking good for Summer, and she's been missing for a long time, and these people are still doing the same old stuff. So I'm just disturbed by the whole situation. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this video short. Guys, let me know in the comment section what you think below. If I missed any information or I said something wrong, let me know. You guys don't have a problem correcting me, so I'm sure you will. But I will be back with some updates. I've been watching a lot of videos, doing a lot of research, social media surfing and stuff like that. So I will let you guys know when I have more information. Until then, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because if you don't subscribe, you won't see my videos. Also, click on the post notifications bell so you don't miss a video. It will inform you when I post again. And as soon as I get to 1,000 subscribers, we can go ahead and do a live stream where we can get on and put our thoughts together. And not just about this case, guys, but about every case. I do want to also say that I am still thinking about the Cash Gurning case. I'm still thinking about him, and I feel terrible about what happened to him. I've been looking up updates and stuff on him. I can't find much right now. I guess it's not going to be much until more information is released. It's just really upsetting, because so many children lately who have been getting abused or killed or come up missing, and their parents are involved, and it's just disturbing to me. So let's try to find justice for these kids. I know that I can't be much help, but we can discuss it together. It's good that we, you know, if we have somewhere to all come to and kind of vent and put our thoughts together, because you never know if your information that you have might put a case together and solve it. So go ahead and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you like this video and this channel. And I will see you guys soon.